I'm going to tell you exactly how we booked these $13,000 business class tickets for exactly $0 out of pocket. Lots of people like to talk about how they book their travel for free, but not a lot of them like to actually go in depth and show you how they were able to do that. In this video, I'm going to go in depth and show you a beginner's guide on exactly step-by-step how we're able to book these tickets for $0 out of pocket so you can do the same for tons of different destinations around the world. The first thing that you got to do is pick a destination. In our specific scenario, this booking was more about the journey than it was the actual destination. We've flown for free with miles and points for years now, but this was the first time that we ever decided to pull the trigger and actually book a business class ticket with our points. Because of that, we wanted to maximize the amount of time that we're going to spend in our seats. This was our first time getting to fly in lie-flat seats, and we wanted to make sure we took full advantage of as much time of it as possible. That's why it took quite a while for us to actually pick our destination of Sydney. We also wanted to make sure that with our tickets, we were getting maximum value out of our points. That was one of the most important things to us when we were booking this particular trip. Now, the second thing that you're going to do after you determine your destination is actually pick which airline and which points or miles currency you're going to utilize to get your flights for free. You're going to spend a lot of time researching sites like the Points Guy, 1 Mile at a Time, and tons of other resources to help you figure out how to utilize your points towards the destination that you'd like to go to. But no, you should utilize these as guides because things do often change relatively quickly and sometimes they get outdated rather fast. You're going to spend a lot of time guessing and checking. I probably logged into 20 different airline carrier programs to figure out which was going to be the best overall deal for redeeming our miles. After all said and done, we determined American Airlines was going to be the best for us, and we were able to utilize our points. We each used 127,000 American Airlines miles to redeem these flights for free. The first thing that I want to talk about before I even get into talking about points and miles and free flights is credit card responsibility. If you're somebody who frequently or even sometimes pays credit card interest or occasionally has late payments, I recommend you stay away from these strategies because in the end, it'll end up costing you more than it's worth. We have never paid a single penny of interest or a single dollar in late fees on our credit cards. It's incredibly important to be honest with yourself before going down the road of miles and points. That being said, none of this should be taken as what you should do, but instead what we were able to do and how we're able to utilize our miles and points so you can get an accurate example on how you can expect to get value out of yours. The second part of this is if you're somebody who ends up spending more money because you're utilizing a credit card instead of a debit card or cash, this strategy is probably not for you either because it's going to end up costing you, again, more in the long run. My wife Sam and I use credit cards exclusively for every single purchase that we make, with the exception of a couple bills that have a percentage fee if you use a credit card. So whether we're buying a pack of gum, we're buying gas at the grocery store, we're buying tickets to go somewhere or tickets for a movie, we're always using a credit card and utilizing it as a debit card. We pay our bill off in full at the end of each month so that we can capitalize on the extra 1 or 2% that we're going to get back from the credit card companies, which we can then use towards our flights and travel. We're not experts at this game either. Maybe from the outside looking in, we may give off that appearance, but there's always still something to learn from experts around the space. Credit card welcome offers are the single most important thing when it comes to travel hacking. Many credit card issuers offer introductory bonuses for spending X amount of dollars in a certain time frame on a new credit card. So an example of that would be, say, a Chase credit card. They may offer you 50,000 bonus points after you spend $2,000 in your first 3 months. Credit card companies obviously do this because they're trying to entice new people to sign up with their credit cards. But for travel hackers, this is a way that we're able to capitalize on the credit card's points for free travel around the world. Now, the term credit card points and airline miles are fairly interchangeable. They are different. Typically, points are going to be reserved for the credit card issuer companies, and airline miles are specifically rewards programs from certain airlines. So think of that as your Chase Ultimate Rewards points or your American Express membership points. So those are both credit card issuers that are issuing points. Now, some credit cards are co-branded, such as some of the Bear Clay and Citi cards that are co-branded with American Airlines. Those cards are actually giving you American Airlines rewards miles instead of a credit card issuer points. Now, most credit card issuers points programs allow you to transfer your points into particular miles programs with different airlines. This is how you're going to typically get maximum value out of your credit card welcome bonuses. Typically, the way that these points and miles are broken down at a base 1 cent per point. So if you had 50,000 points, that would be the equivalent of $500. But maximizing your points is when you have 50,000 points, and instead of getting $500 of value out of it, maybe you get $2,000 out of value out of it. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty exactly in this video. I'm more so going to showcase exactly how we were able to book our tickets, but just keep that in mind going forward. Now, there are actually resources and sites such as TPG or The Points Guy that actually give you a great reference chart to what the current valuation of each program's mile or point is currently worth. Now, for example, American Airlines miles are valued at 1.77 cents per mile. So an example would be if you had 100,000 miles, that would be worth $1,770 worth of travel with American. Now, this is the key to luxury travel. If you're able to squeeze more value out of the current valuation of your points, you're going to go a long way with your points in comparison to getting the minimum value. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Again, this is not what you should do, but rather what we were able to do and what anybody would be able to do when redeeming your points and miles for luxury travel. My wife Sam and I have combined applied for over 25 credit cards in the last 2 years to acquire miles and points. Now, I know a lot of people's heads are going to literally explode when they hear that, but we're able to maintain over an 800 credit score in doing so. Now, I'm not going to get into it on this video. My battery just died. Now, I'm not really going to get into it on this video here, but there is a lot of myths when it comes to credit cards. Obviously, hearing that we've applied for over 25 credit cards in the last 2 years sounds concerning to some, but being able to maintain at least an 800 credit score this whole time, we have no concern over applying for a new credit card. It may drop our credit score a couple points by doing so, but typically in the long run, it's actually going to mean that we have a higher credit score at the end of the day. So specifically in this video, our focus is going to be on American Airlines miles. So as you can see, the flights that we have determined we are going to book require us each to use 127,000 American Airlines miles for a round-trip business class ticket from Phoenix, where we live, to Sydney, Australia. Now, keep in mind, we did use 3 different credit cards to accumulate the points for these tickets, but really, we only used 2. The third one was to cover the taxes and fees that were associated with the tickets. We wanted to make sure that we weren't fibbing or, pushing the truth any. We truly came out of our pocket absolutely nothing. The first card we use to earn these points is the City Advantage Platinum Select. The current welcome offer is if you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months, they will award you 60,000 American Airlines miles. In addition, there's no annual fee for this card, meaning if you spend $3,000 in 3 months on your regularly scheduled everyday purchases, in 3 months, you'll be getting a minimum of $600 in American Airlines flights for completely free. The second card we used is the Barclays Advantage Aviator Red Card, which currently has a promotion that will give you 60,000 miles for making just a single purchase and paying for the annual fee, which is $99. This is an incredibly quick way to earn 125,000 American Airlines miles in 3 months' time. All you have to do is hit the $3,000 minimum spend that is required on the first card, which you can do by making your everyday purchases. And then on the second card, you can buy a pack of gum and they're going to give you the points for it. So effectively, for spending $3,001, you're going to end up with 120,000 American Airlines miles. Now you may be saying, Alan, you said you needed 125,000 miles. This is only a way to earn 120,000 miles. I'm going to be a couple thousand short. And although you're right, yes, you're also wrong because you're not calculating the points that you're going to acquire from making your everyday purchases up to that $3,000 mark. Now, keeping in mind that American Airlines has fluctuating flight prices even when paying for points, I did confirm multiple times last month for multiple dates that you'd be able to get these exact same tickets for 127,000 miles. Now, you also might be saying, wait a minute, you said you got 2 tickets that were $13,000 a piece for 127,000 miles. You also may have said that those miles are only worth 1 penny a piece, so 127,000 miles should only be $1,270. Now, although you are correct, there is no ceiling for how far you can stretch your miles and how much value you can get out of them. Meaning we were able to get almost 11 cents per point of value out of those same miles. Now, my wife and I both did this strategy, so we each applied for these cards and got the welcome bonuses, so we were each able to book these tickets. We were able to enjoy these amazing lay-flat seats and fine dining in business class on American Airlines for spending just $3,000 we were already going to spend on these two specific credit cards. Wait, you said you got those tickets for free. I see that there's $108 of taxes. You're right, and that's exactly why we used a third card. Now, the third credit card is the Capital One Venture X credit card, which is my personal favorite right now. So we use the Venture X card, which has what's called Purchase Eraser, which allows you to erase purchases, travel purchases, that you make with the card. So we put the $108 of taxes on our Venture X card, and then we went back and redeemed 10,000 miles to make those purchases completely free. That card we did not have to apply for specifically to be able to utilize those points because we'd applied for it a year or two ago, and we're still utilizing it now to this day. But we did have some points accumulated, which allowed us to erase those purchases. But the current welcome offer is if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months, you will get 75,000 Capital One points. There is a $395 annual fee on this card, but there are other Capital One cards that you can do the same thing, such as the regular Venture card with a $95 fee, or even if you don't want to pay an annual fee at all, there is just a Capital One Venture One card with no annual fee. The cool part about the Capital One points is you can either transfer them to hotel or airline partners, or you can do something even cooler, which I mentioned a moment ago, which is the Purchase Eraser, which allows you to make a purchase with the card and then go back and actually utilize your points that you have and erase that purchase. So for instance, in this specific scenario, we had $108 worth of taxes, which we went back, utilized our Capital One points, erased that purchase for 10,000 points. So effectively, these tickets were truly free, $0 out of pocket. This is truly just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how we pay for travel through credit card points and miles. So potentially for applying for just 3 credit cards, paying $100 in annual fees, you can book this exact same itinerary for exactly $0 out of pocket. Now, obviously not everybody lives in Phoenix and not everybody wants to go to Sydney, but American Airlines has tons of different destinations that you can utilize your miles for luxury travel with. This was truly just the airfare. Later on, we actually used some more points to book the hotels that we stayed in for completely free. So this round trip 7-day itinerary from Phoenix to Sydney and back cost us nothing out of pocket for both the accommodation and the airfare. So the only thing that we were responsible for was spending money while we were there, and obviously food. There is other things that you would like to see when it comes to credit cards, points, miles, redemptions. Let me know in the comments. I plan on making more videos when it comes to points, miles, and credit cards because it's probably one of my favorite things to talk about. I kind of get excited every single time people bring up credit cards. I spend a lot of time researching and reading different blogs and articles, making sure that I stay up to date. Again, I'm still no expert. I'm always still learning. I try to be a sponge and learn as much as I can because there's so much to learn. And the game is always kind of changing. But for now, I'm going to leave you with this. And I do appreciate you watching the video. If you made it this far, if you'll drop a like, it means a ton. If you'll subscribe to the channel, that would also be awesome. But again, I do appreciate you guys watching the video. Until the next one, peace out.